All right. Welcome to the show. How are we doing today?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
So we got Ken Walker here from Custom Diesel Drivers Training, and he brought along Diana, who's a recent graduate of about 3 weeks. Come in to talk about some of the trucking industry up downs, how the school's going, and what it's done for you.
Yes.
So what we're going to start here is we are trying to promote trades, driving, electrical, plumbing, any of that kind of stuff that we're not spending $80,000 and giving it to a school and coming out with that certificate and going, now what?
Right.
We also kind of want to touch on something here. Our last episode, we were talking about, appreciation for what we have and holding on to our loved ones tight. Well, it was about 4 years ago, man.
Yeah.
You were Red Bulling it up way too much, which we've all been guilty of. I'm a little more of an amp guy myself. I like that Mountain Dew. But it sent you into caffeine seizures and altered your life forever, really.
Forever.
And I want you to kind of tell us, maybe you can help some of our people avoid such tragedies, man, because it really did change your life. And I mean, I remember you in braces and couldn't move, and it was insane.
Yeah.
So put it on us, dude. What do you got?
Yeah. So basically back then, went through a life change, and drinking energy drinks like they were water, and probably got halfway to work, realized I forgot my pickup. That's how much I was. But so what happened is they call it a caffeine seizure. Some say it's a medical term, some say it's not. But what induced that was a lot of stress, lack of sleep, a bunch of caffeine. On a Christmas morning, I got into loading presents to go to my in-laws for Christmas, and lost my vision. I felt fine, just lost my vision. And my oldest daughter was in the garage, and I said, "Go get your mom." We joke about this now, but I said, "Go get your mom. I can't see." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I lost my vision." And I'm just standing at the back of the car in the garage. And so next thing I know, I hear all the car doors shut. Still can't see. And then my wife finally gets out, and she said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I can't see you." I said, "We got to take this certain path because it's going to go to the hospital in case something happens." She goes, "You want me to drive?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I can't see." So as soon as long story short, as soon as I sat down in the car, all I heard was the door shut. Next thing I know, I wake up in a bunch of pain. I had some good friends, acquaintances that are on the fire department. I still couldn't see, but I could hear their voice. And Dave and Jared is their first names. And I knew I was in good hands, so I went right back out. So I wake up in a hospital, several fractures to my back, 2 dislocated shoulders, and a dislocated jaw. Ooh. And it was Christmas. And I looked at the nurse, my wife's sitting there, and I felt horrible for being there. Anyways, I said, "What the hell happened?" And she's like, "We don't know. We're trying to figure that out." So we were starting to reminisce on what was going on. And it's due to lack of sleep, lots of stress, and a bunch of caffeine at once. I probably went full retard on drinking them, 10 or 11 of them a week, maybe.
What was the duration?
What
was the duration for months, weeks?
I really started to, prior to that, probably the 2 weeks, within 2 weeks. I can honestly say I probably had 90 to 100 of them in the 2 week span.
And then obviously what led to
because I quit drinking alcohol, and then you just always subsidize something else when you're at a bar scene or a party or whatever. But they came out with this awesome flavor that I love, and it's peach. And I drink one today. I still would, but just one instead of 5 of them in an hour. But I figured that morning, I had 3 high rev coffees about this size. I had about 4 of those in 2 hours before Christmas. So it's just one of those things that, stupid. You can't fix stupidity, but here we are. We're moving forward. So that put me into all these braces and things like that. I had a choice to make. Do I just crawl up in a ball and play the poor me game, stay at home, put everything on my wife to take care of the household, or do I just man up and say, "You know what, I'm going to get through this pain"? So I went to work every day. Even though they said I couldn't drive, I still found a way to get there. It was ruthless for pain wise. Painkillers, half the time they didn't work. You just, I'm a type of person, I'm a fighter. I'm going to keep moving forward no matter what the situation is. And eventually one day I'll come out of it. So fast forward 4 years from now, or 4 years. In the wintertime, it is a bear. It is. But sitting here, I'm not in no pain.
Yeah.
It's just, you just got to keep moving forward. So I'm a firm believer in that. It could be medical. It could be anything. You just got to, look at what is positive and just focus on that. Because if you just focus on the negative, that's all you're going to be, is the negative person.
Oh yeah. You totally could have given up, dude.
Oh,
like it.
There was days.
The pictures of I was seeing of you and stuff. I was worried you was going to make it out. So I can't imagine what it was like. Mustering the energy to get up and do it.
And I'm thankful for the job that I have, the career that I have. And I think, honestly, my wife and I talk about it all the time, just to have that passion, something to fight for.
Keeps you going.
Keeps you going. Number one, I'm laying in that bed at the hospital, and I looked at the nurse. I said, it's Christmas. And I said, I'm going to get out of here today. And she's like,
No, you're not.
She's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, excuse my language. And I'm like, the hell I'm not. And I did. I bared the pain. My last name is Walker. That's for a reason. I don't like to run. I'll run 100 meters. That's about it.
Oh, that's 50 more than me.
Right.
Kudos.
So the deal was that I met with the nurse and the doctor. I said, it's Christmas. We're at Lakeside. I said, you know what? I'm not staying here. It's Christmas. I said, my kids deserve better. I can either I lay here in the bed or I go home.
Right.
And I said, I would rather be at home. So my wife and I looked at my wife and I said, here we go. And I did. Every step I took, there was tears and I was bawling. It hurt. And the last straw was I had to walk up 5 or 6 stairs before they would let me go. And I had to walk around the whole floor at least once before they let me out. And I did.
Brings back some early memories. I don't want to get too far into this. I could probably talk to you for 6 hours about this, but I've had my back fused from an accident. So yeah, I got rods, plates, screws, and everything. I mean, that winter thing hits it on the head. It's terrible in the winter. The spring starts coming around. Summer feels pretty good.
Right.
But yeah, it's man, I feel it. Yeah. I mean, when you said you had to walk with the floor, that's what I had to do to get out of ICU after they fused my spine.
Yeah.
And that was the worst walk of my life. The worst walk of my life.
Like I said, my last name's Walker, and they gave me a walker, one of those little things. And I kind of made a joke at the time. I looked at the nurse and I said, well, if my shoulders are popping in and out, how the hell am I supposed to keep my body up? And she did. She walked right next to me and had her arm under my armpit and everything. And the entire time that I took a step, this is no joke, and I don't want people to feel sorry for me because it is what it is. But every time I took a step, 10 feet, one shoulder would pop out. So we'd have to pop it back in. And the other shoulder would pop out, I'd have to pop it back in. But I was determined that I was not going to stay there on Christmas. Like my kids.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean.
So you fast forward, I'm in all these braces and everything. That's when Matt see me. And, but I think it's career. I had something to fight for. Besides my career, I had to show my kids, no matter how hard life hits you, you just keep moving forward. And that's what truly kept me going. I have an amazing wife, smoking hot, by the way. She hates when I say that.
Got to throw that in.
I know, right? Our relationship is just amazing. But our kids, that's how I want to raise our kids. No matter how hard life hits you on all levels, you cannot crawl up into a ball. You've got to keep moving.
Kids don't have an example. They got nothing to learn and to strive for.
And I can tell you from that day forward, our lives have changed tremendously for the better, I guess you would say. Positive.
Yeah.
Right. It's more of a leadership. And you don't give up no matter how hard. I mean, we've gone through a lot of challenges business wise, other challenges, things like that, but they can see where they need to go.
Well, it's nice having a strong woman behind you, man. Mine should have left a couple times. I was, I had my head up my ass for a long time, and it is nice having that woman that is willing to fight for you. Is 100%. So I dig that. want to kind of shift over to your school here.
Yeah.
You run the custom diesel drivers training.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been open?
So the school itself started in 1971.
Oh.
And then my old man came along. I think it was 2007 as an instructor. And then in 2010, they were able to purchase the school. And then I came along in 2012. And then he just recently, last year, my wife and I ended up buying the school from him. So he retired. But he started off in 2010. We had one truck, one trailer. I think they had like 87 students that year, something like that. When he first took over in 2007, they had 41 students for the entire year. You came to our class.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's more than 41 students in the class.
Yeah.
So that's that direction. Him and I, we really battled the industry. We really changed the culture of the industry. We have different views, different ideas, and the principle of the school from the very beginning, from the original owner, Charlie, is you fight for the underdogs. It's not about money. You got to make money, right? But it's about helping those that need help.
Yeah.
In all actuality, for those that need help, they actually help us more than they think they do.
No, absolutely. That's a gem right there. But you're right.
Yeah. So I mean, just being able to come into this industry and watch and what happens, and I'm a firm believer you can always say you're a leader, but actions speak louder than words. Again, we're not in it for the money. We're in it for the education. We just hope that we make enough money to survive, right? It's like any other business. But it's about helping people change and get to the next level. We all can agree money's not everything, but it is a nice thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
It helps facilitate a lot of other things.
Correct. And we work on all different levels. People from all over the United States, 18 years old all the way up. Our oldest student, we laugh, but we don't, but he was 82 years old. He came to class just to change his career, and he drove for 4 more years.
It wasn't just like a life goal or something. It was actually
right. He just
4 years.
He's like, I just want to come to class. We trained a few people that was run for public office. We've trained doctors, we've trained lawyers, we've trained all different types of trades.
That is insane.
Yeah, it's teachers.
I think some more politicians could use some wheel time.
I invite them, like, come sit in I'll take them out just so they can see what it kind of is on the rules that they're making or voting on. And I deal with politics too. And
Been to DC a couple times, haven't you?
Yeah. I would love to be transportation secretary.
A lot of things would be different, huh?
That would be so corrupt. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But just some of the rules and laws that they have out there, and it can be altered and adjusted to fit everybody's needs. But just to kind of see what they're actually making the rules of. I'm a firm believer you don't know what you don't know, and you can see it on a piece of paper, but it doesn't work in the real world, right? So, but yeah, I invite anybody. I'll take them out in the truck for 2-3 hours so they can just see what goes on and all that stuff. So yeah, the school itself. So now that my wife and I we've purchased a school, and we're just taking it we're still following the same path, but we're taking it to a whole different level. And it's amazing to watch. It's amazing to watch students. When we say students, people say kids. I'm like, no, they're grown adults.
Yeah.
Right.
It's one of those things to be able to watch and get into a career to where it's stable. And not everybody has to go over the road. And that's our biggest challenge is people are, well, you got to go over the road to make a life. And I'm like, no, you don't. You can go work for city, county road crews, OPPD as a lineman. You can go
There's
work
a ton of local work. There's a place just outside of Springfield here. Or is it Louisville, Springfield? It's Louisville.
Yeah.
There's a sign on the wall that says they're hiring for like $2,500 a week.
Yeah.
To start.
Yeah.
I mean, they are hiring local everywhere.
Right.
And when I came out, I had a job locally, and we kept it under the 150 miles, and I ran a lot. I bent some rules for sure. Yeah. But bro, I look, when I came to your school, I was just coming through one of the worst times of my life.
Yep.
Lost literally everything, was in the camper, had just been in the house probably a year, and I had nothing. I couldn't even, you guys financed me, and that is what changed my life coming out of school. And it has really set me up for everything that has to come. I mean, I was failing. I had come out of a high dollar management job, and when I lost it, I didn't know what I was going to do, and then depression, and my head was so far at my ass, and I didn't know where to get money as fast as I needed, other than to go into something that paid, and trucking paid, and it was something I knew I could go in and get trained in. I think I did it in 3 months, and I was on the road making $25 an hour as soon as I walked out the door, and it was amazing, and it was needed, and it really swooped in and saved the day. And I mean, we got a cheaper house out of the country, but I'm $7,000 away from paying that off. Like, we're
on the right path.
The CDL changed my life. It really did. And you guys, worked on my credit was shot. I'm living in a camper. Y'all still, I got me through, and I do appreciate that in what you guys have done for me personally.
Absolutely. And that's what we talk about as industry. It's people like you. It's people like other students. Maybe their credit's not the greatest. They can't get a loan, so they can't come to class. They don't qualify for a grant or any funding like that, or do they want to wait for the time to get a grant? Because it can take forever.
Paperwork.
And that's how we've built our business, and that's how we're going to continue to build our business. Because we're firm believers is it's not always about money. It's not. It's about trusting each other, working through it. The financing that we have at the school, there is no credit checks. We don't give a shit. Excuse my language. We look at the person. We care. Are they going to make the payment? Trust me, we get screwed a lot. But you know what? There's more good that comes out of it than what
still outweighs the bad.
Oh, 100%.
Or the negative, or the money you're not getting back.
Right. So if you finance with us, please pay us. It keeps everything going.
We appreciate that.
We've had to get a little more strict on some of that financing stuff, but in all actuality, it's our pleasure to do it.
Yep.
It's the school itself is not about money. It's about teaching, safety, getting you to the next level, and changing you and your life for you and your family. And then eventually it'll change a company, and it's a big circle.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. I mean, I've known you since I was a baby, so I think I was like, 9?
Oh yeah.
Something like that, yeah. So I mean, on a personal level, you have taught me a lot of stuff too. To where I take that, I laugh at some of these, driving around your mom's station wagon. Oh yeah, she was not impressed.
Were you there, Ken?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Ken was there for a lot of the.
I definitely have heard the story and was here for it, but I didn't know you were a culprit as well.
He's in. Ken was in a lot of the shenanigans with me and Ross. We had some fun. Ken was definitely. He definitely was right in there with us on a lot of stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So I know I have seen you posted on Facebook and stuff. What are some of the biggest industry struggles you see coming that are going to affect the rest of the country, not, just drivers?
Yeah. So I probably put my foot in my mouth a lot, but I say it like it is and how I see it. Obviously, we're in the right business model for what's happening when it comes to this new entry-level driver's training. It's called ELDT. It is a law that anybody that's wanting to get a CDL, they have to go through some form of certified training. So that forces them to go through certified training. I am 100% against it. 100%. I've been against it since the beginning. What it does for our industry, so I'm building up to the point. What it does for our industry is some Joe Blow down the street that can see an opportunity to charge people money, but not give them a better education. All it is a sign off. They're like, yep, you can breathe, you can see, you can make one right turn. I think you're good. Sign you off. And that creates a worse driver than what we have today.
Oh, for sure.
They don't take into account of the actual training aspect, teaching. Okay. A lot of these fly-by-night programs will get somebody good enough just to pass the certification, but then they can't pass the test at the DMV, which is good because it's a protection.
It's a stopgap.
Correct.
Right.
But now that the DMVs, they've made the test, I wouldn't say harder, and I'm all for a challenge. I would say the way the point system works on how the test works, they've made it really hard. Not necessarily the maneuvers. It's just the point system. So we see a bunch of failures. So now that we have all these restrictions on there, obviously from a government agency, you got to get data before you can say anything. And this is something that's pretty well new. So they're starting to see some data. But it just, what it does for the ELDT stuff in the good schools, the ones that actually train and teach, it puts a damper on general public looking into, getting their CDL. And they're like, well, you guys are thousands of dollars more higher than this person down the road. And we're like, yeah, but you got to look at it. They're not with the Better Business Bureau. They haven't even been in business for a year. And realistically, are they there for your best interest and the safety of the public?
I mean, let's face it. At this point in time, when we get what we pay for,
Yeah.
cars, everything.
Yeah. If it's cheap today, it'll cost you in the long run.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's one of those things that we see. But for, what I see in the pipeline of this industry, if you're wanting in the industry, it's like one of the greatest times to get in the industry, regardless of all the rhetoric you're hearing out there. It is a great time to get in. And we are aging out as an industry. Baby boomers are starting to age out. We're failing to get our younger generation into the industry. And a lot of it's due to funding, but yeah, I mean,
at some point we're going to run into a shortage of drivers, and what's that going to do to the cost of goods for everybody?
yeah. So they say the freight, we're in like almost 2 years, which is unheard of. It's never happened to where freight prices are not where they used to be. We do this every 9 to 12 years. It's just a cycle. We see it all the time.
Are you saying they're lower than typically? Yeah, I've kind of read some stuff on that.
Okay.
Right.
So this is my opinion on what I see. In the years of 2020, 2021, the COVID years, there was a massive influx of people coming in the industry. These are people that went out and bought trucks that were way too expensive at the time because of the shortages and all that stuff. So you got all these people just driving into this industry, and now there's a lot more competition. Okay. Now they're just trying to survive to make their truck payments that they can't afford, $4,000 truck payments.
So they're taking $1.50 a mile instead of $4.50.
Correct. And what it does
it really deviate that?
Oh,
dude.
Yeah, they will do it just to break even or just to get some
Just to make that payment
Right.
and pay their mortgage or whatever they're doing.
The load boards and stuff are ridiculous and full of people taking loads for nickels and making nothing just to survive.
Just to do,
That's why I didn't buy my 40-foot trailer and get on the road. That's why I bought a car trailer and I'm staying around.
And that happens. Well, two things happen. Good medium-sized companies, and even large companies, but good medium-sized companies now have to try to compete with those people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think, and I'm not going to put any names out there for large companies, but just think of large companies. That is really a small percentage of our industry. Majority of our industry is owner-operators. A fleet that has 10 trucks or less on their fleet is majority of our industry. Like we're talking more than 80%.
Wow.
So, you got your large. They say there's 2.2 million transportation companies, and then out of that, there's 400,000 companies like what you would call a big one. If you're from Nebraska, you know that big name.
That's crazy.
The number.
It's a large number.
It's a large number. So much competition there. So those companies are hurting because now they got to kind of cater to what the market is. And then you have individuals that are trying to survive just like everybody else. So they're okay if they break even and make a little bit of money, but break even so they can cover their expenses. Because if they can't cover their expenses, guess what? The bank's going to come get the truck or whatever. So they're taking freight just because of that reason. But I tell you what, there's still good freight out there.
Yeah.
If you're going off a load board all the time, you're not going to make money. You gotta get with your customer base. You gotta find your customers and haul for your customers. But with all the challenges that we have for the entry level side of it, like I always say, 2 years from now, within less than 2 years, we're gonna, my opinion, but we're gonna see a driver's market to where they can name their paycheck. Because when freight volume does come back, like there ain't gonna be as many drivers.
Right. And it's just simple mathematics.
Yeah.
Tells you what happened.
The recussion effect. If there's not as many drivers, how do you get drivers to come in the industry? Well, you raise the wages. Well, when you raise the wages, it raises everything else. Products go up, so
Price of freight, the whole 9 yards.
right. So we're actually shooting ourselves in the foot. But on the other side of it, what they don't talk about is the good quality of people that want in the industry. There's that number there. It's just we as an industry are failing to help out the schools to get those people in.
Yeah.
You know, any employer, and I hate saying it this way because we want to help everybody that would qualify, but any employer would love to hire somebody that has a great driving record, right?
Absolutely. Insurance is cheaper, I believe.
Right. A decent background, right? But there's a lot of these grants they're out there pushing the CDL, but they're pushing the CDL to some of the wrong people. I mean, they can get a CDL, but they don't qualify for the industry. So now we're doing all this training, wasting so much money
And people's time, unfortunately.
people's time, which is way more expensive than money.
Yeah.
And then they get to the doors of these employers and they're like, "Yeah, dude, like we can't hire you. You got a vehicular homicide on your record. Like we can't hire you." But some Joe Blow down the street said I could get a CDL and I can get in this industry. And I'm not saying they can't. It's just there's a bigger challenge.
It's a big barrier,
Right.
unfortunately.
And meanwhile, a lot of the good schools, they have a laundry list of all qualified people, but we just fail for the funding. You know, and with our financing, we only can finance out so much per year. I wish I can get, and we're making headway. And I really respect the industry, and I get it. Companies can't just write checks for people they don't know. I totally get it.
Well, they can't also expect you to write one. So
They do.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You know, so how this business model works is I always explain to them, okay, can you imagine you as a trucking company buying a truck, buying a trailer, maybe you finance it through a bank, and then you got a monthly payment of say $4,500 a month. Then you're going to your customer that you're going to haul for, your shipper, and then you're like, hey, I'm gonna buy that load too, and then I'm gonna haul that load to your receiver. So I'm already thousands and thousands of dollars in debt, right? But I want the shipper or the receiver, because that's who buys it. I want the receiver to pay me back, right, and a monthly fee of $200 a month. That's exactly what we do.
yeah.
Is that that's what the industry is asking. So we try to cabbage up on any. I'm not a big contract guy. I would much rather not put our students under a contract. I always say you do you. If you want to go under a contract, but I'm going to try to talk you out of it. But it's one of those things that this industry, that's what they do, is they need drivers too, and they have expenses, just like everybody else. But I think we need to have that common sense conversation of somebody that's not trying to manipulate or lie to the industry, of saying, how does this stuff work? Because if you had to buy a truck, a trailer, pay for the insurance, pay for everything like that, plus buy the load to haul the load for the receiver, and then the receiver's only going to pay you $200 to $300 a month back, would you do it?
It's a little rough.
There's not one business that
That even makes sense.
It don't
I mean,
make
to
sense.
me.
And that's the stuff that we're running on. But that's on that side of it, right? But it's people like you. It's people like you that we watch you guys get to change your life. So we are more than happy to walk through the depths of challenges and just all that stuff, because at the end of the day, it's not about money for us.
Yeah.
As long as we can make enough money to survive and pay our staff and pay our bills.
Live a comfortable life, keep
Live
the
a
doors open.
Right. If I want to go get rich, I suppose I'll just start a trucking company.
Right.
Or go on a different path, go on real estate or something like that. We're not looking to get rich in this game. We're looking to get a good education and help individuals get to that next level.
Yeah.
And that's who we are.
Yeah.
They always say to take the shirt off your back, but I kind of would like to keep my shirt on my back if I can help you, but I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, when it comes to trade jobs too, because we go to high schools, and I know you wanted to talk about this. Want to talk about it?
Yeah, go ahead. Fire away.
So it is amazing. I hired a new director of recruiting, and anybody that I hire, I always want them to go to high schools. I want them to know the challenges that we have just in the Omaha, Gretna, Elkhorn area and surrounding Lincoln, stuff like that. And he comes back to me because that's how I'm training him to figure out where the market is, right? He comes back to me and he goes, Ken, because I'm dumbfounded. You go to different schools, you get different types of people. And I'm like, well, can you elaborate just a little bit? He goes, you go to the smaller schools, as in like the schools on the outside of the Omaha community. He says they have shop classes, they have trade job training, they have all this stuff. But you go to the inner city schools, it's like these kids are in pajamas. They don't even, like half the time they have earbuds and headphones in, and they don't have those programs. I said, well, where's your market at? He says, well, it's not the inner city. I said, well, it's all of them because we're in education. But he was just dumbfounded on the schools.
Yeah.
And so, smaller communities like Gretna and Blair and Elkhorn and Beatrice and Ralston, I mean, that's kind of on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
They have amazing trade programs for all their kids. We need electricians, we need plumbers, we need mechanics. I mean, I would love to see everybody come through CDL school, but we know that's not the whole case, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm not going to call the local truck driver to plumb the house, right?
Right.
So, but yeah, just to see our education systems, and I'm not dogging any of them. It just to see different education systems do different things for their kids is what is driving so many different things.
Yeah.
You go to these smaller cities and towns, the kids they're dressed, I don't know, the word normal, I don't even know the definition of normal, but they're dressed ready to work, right? They're at school, they got jeans.
They dress like they might have to change a tire on the way home.
Right, or go to work, right? But you go to some of these inner city schools and it's like they just woke up out of bed and they got pajama pants on. And it's like, what are you going to do? You're a senior, you got like 30 more days of school. What are you going to do with it? I don't know. I have no idea.
Kids are different than we were.
I know it. And I'm just like, well, you got to figure out, well, I'm going to go to college. And I'm like, oh, don't tell me you're going to college and you don't know what you're doing. And they're like, yeah, we're just going to go see what's going on. All right.
Go spend 80 grand on a, let's see.
Well, and I'm a firm believer in this. It might ruffle some feathers, but that's what I'm here to do. You can ask an 18-year-old kid to take a $200,000 student loan. They'll get it. But an 18-year-old kid that wants to be an entrepreneur and start his own business or her business too, and have an actual bank account with income statements, profit and loss statements because they've been operating it, that kid will not get a business loan.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself, why? Why would we give student loans for a myth of an education that we don't even know if they're going to get or not? But you won't give this person a business loan that's proof that they're in business. They're just trying to grow it, and they're the same age. It just drives me insane.
I went to a college before I came to Custom Diesel, and I just finished paying off that loan last year. I mean, and that way I graduated in 2004, so 20 years it took me to pay that off. But your loan's been paid off for 2 years.
I know it. And I thank you.
So I mean, the trades, man. You walk out of it, and 90% of the time, you can walk right into a job and be making the kind of money you want to. You walk out of college, the big box. There's no guarantee. You got a piece of paper. You might not be able to deal with people, but you got this piece of paper.
Right. Yeah. I always talk about, I tell my kids this, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. A, B, C, and F students. As you notice, I didn't say D students. They've done studies on this. I witnessed this. Well, I'll give you a little background about me. Like, I am not the most smartest person in any room. I'm not. I got like a 4th grade reading level. I can't read with a shit. I'm still trying to figure out why they spell knife with a K. But I'll battle you. I'll battle you any day on a debate, but I will listen. I'll hear you to try to understand where you come from. But I tell my kids this. I said, if you look at any business scale, any model, any successful person, or whatever you want to say success is, I said, lots of times we need people to go to college if they know what they're going to college for. We need accountants, we need lawyers, we need doctors. We do need those people. Right?
Engineers, we need bridges, we need roads.
You wouldn't want me to develop a bridge, But I say, majority of entrepreneurs, in my belief, so if I'm overspeaking, I apologize, but from what I see, a lot of your A students are your CEOs, CFOs. A lot of your B students are the supervisors, the people that run the companies. A lot of your C students are the people, A or B and C students run the companies, or the laborers, right, the workers. But what's the F student? Who's the F student?
Janitor.
It's the owner. It's the owner. because an F student has figured out school did not adapt to them, and they look at people in a different way. They look at it as in like, this is the direction that I want to go. I need you to help me get there. So they're going to hire you to help them get there. And that's usually a C, D, or F student. Not all. It's just what I say. That we just say, okay, I can't do this. Like, I can't read the shit, so I'm not going to go to an attorney's office and try to battle an attorney on something I can't read. Right? Yeah. I'm going to hire somebody to do it. And that's what a lot of entrepreneurs do. Is they look at the value of that person, and then I wouldn't say manipulate, but that's the word I'm going to use. They manipulate it to where they're saying, how can that person help me on something?
How is it beneficial to how do they, how do we work together in tandem? Because I've got this set of skills and you've got this set of skills.
Correct.
It's kind of like what Matt and I've kind of done here.
Yeah. Rob and I are a couple C's that make a low B.
Right.
Hey, let's give ourselves a high B.
Okay.
Like, I went to Resource, and I tell you what, they were the best teachers I've ever had. And I know the school that I went to had a no-fail policy, and I took every advantage of it. And so, yeah, I mean, if I didn't have them, I probably wouldn't have a high school diploma. Mm-hmm. I was a huge athlete, which you knew that. Yeah. But I figured it out my freshman year, and I'm like, we have a no-fail policy, and they have a room that with amazing teachers. They're actually going to do my work for me if I make the biggest excuse on why I can't do it. So I used my athleticism as to my advantage because we wanted to play ball, and I said, well, I can't figure this out. So
you've got to keep a certain grade to play sports, I'm sure.
So I manipulated it to a certain aspect, but I can tell you for those that are watching, I couldn't imagine who I could be today, which I don't want to change any of it. But if I could read and write and send powerful emails, like how much more powerful or things that we could get done if I was that smart. So now I have to find people that's smart to do it. Yep. And the problem with that is they all want paid, right?
Most of them probably pretty well.
And that's just who I am, and I've accepted the fact that I'm not gonna shy away from it. So I'm all for education. And if you truly know what you're going to do, like, go do it. Yeah. But don't make the excuse at the end of the day when you just get that certificate or that diploma of why you chose that path. Right? There's some careers out there that are just like, what's that? So, but no.
Just hit record. We just lost it. Oh, it came back.
All right.
Hey, all right.
So trades is the direction that I think all of our schools need to go. Well, I know all of our schools need to go. We need to quit pumping the whole. I don't want to get into politics or myths, but I know where the education system is when it comes to student loans. They did this with the housing market.
I was just going to say that's a whole other topic, but just look at the student loan crisis. I think that tells us everything that you need to know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of shift over here to Diana.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Deanna.
Yeah.
I understand it.
So Deanna came to us a few months ago. My wife and I had lots of conversations about it, and it's amazing to watch where she's going with this. And she's completed the program, and you have a job. I'm not going to speak on that. I'm going to let you speak on that. But it's amazing to watch individuals come to us, become family. I mean, we've been family for a long time.
Yeah.
But we're the type of person is that we're going to bring in, hope that we can be family first, and then we'll do the education after that. There are some students that we're not family with, which is totally okay with. But Deanna wanted to help out and do this podcast, and I appreciate for that.
No problem.
But I'm going to leave it over to you guys. I just want to listen.
So, what were you doing before you came here to Kent?
I was in the healthcare field.
Okay. And what I did as far as nursing or?
Yeah, nursing.
Okay. And so what brought you out of there to have you looking at the trucking industry?
After COVID, things changed like really drastically in the healthcare field. So you've seen a lot of people kind of just fly into the field. I don't really think that it was more about compassion. It was more about like the money. And then you see them overworking nurses to where, and aides and med aides, and overworking them so bad to where um, patients weren't getting the care that they really needed. And so it was just really hard for me to see um, preventable deaths, just nurses losing license, just a lot, just really super stressful during that time. And so I was like, and I'm a very compassionate person, so I like to help people in any way that I can. So it took a toll on my mental. So I was like, I have to figure out what I'm gonna do different, because this isn't it anymore. And I'm going home and I'm emotional and I'm sad because I feel like I've given my all, but I'm not helping. I'm not making a dent. That's how I felt. Like I'm going home and I still have certain people on my mind, and which is normal, but it was just more so like harder to just kind of separate myself from work and coming home. So it was like taking a toll on me emotionally and mentally.
It's hard to shut that brain off.
Mm-hmm.
We all experience that.
Yeah.
So you looking at trucking, was it just something that could get you into financial freedom a little quicker? Obviously, coming out of nursing, you had to be making decent money.
I was, but I felt like, to be honest, I wanted more freedom. Okay. I'm really free spirited, so it was more so like coming into trucking, which I have background in trucking as far as my family members. My great grandfather was a trucker. All my uncles are truckers. I have an uncle that retired from trucking, so it wasn't too far. Like I didn't know anything. I actually have pictures as a little girl with semi trucks and stuff. Like, so I have not necessarily knew the ins and outs, but I knew somewhat about it. So I was like, well, I'm gonna try my luck. I always heard good stories from them, as far as just the opportunities that come along with trucking, and being able to provide, watching them be able to provide for our family, and just watching great, strong men actually be able to do great things, and being proud of what they do. And I just was like, and it was a good financial opportunity as well. So I wanted to be able to leave one field and come into another and not feel like I was taking a hit. So like, well, why did I do this? Why did I jump into it? Now, I did ask myself when I first got into it, like, what are you doing? You don't know anything. But so that's what led me to going into Jen and Ken's office and talking to them and getting that motivational push, which I appreciate you guys for so much. Because there were times that I came in there and I was teary-eyed, and Ken just told me, and Jen, both of them, you're gonna fail first. You're gonna fail. Just put it in your mind, you're gonna fail first, and then you're gonna get it, and that's how you learn. And so that was the push that I needed, because I really don't have family support. It's me looking at my little ones and looking at them and knowing that if I don't do it, if I don't show them the way, who's going to show them? Do I leave the world to do that? Or do I leave somebody that doesn't love them and care for them as much as I do leave them, to show them that, hey, no matter what, you can do it. No matter what odds are against you, you can do whatever you put your mind to. And a lot of times it just takes stepping out there, blind faith, so.
Driving the big trucks, it's intimidating. And I'm sure that it was just out of your comfort zone. So, I mean, it is a big step, and it takes a lot of guts to be willing to climb in that truck in the first place. And then, I sat down and went through all the books and took all the tests, and it's a lot. I've had a couple buddies go through, and they call me like, dude, how did you get this? How did that, it's just putting in the time and the repetitions and reading it 3 times instead of just twice, and getting past the intimidation factor, and it can go a long way. And you've been out of school 4 weeks now?
Yeah, 3 going on 4 weeks now.
All right. And you have a job lined up? Or?
Yes.
All right. Yep. That is convenient. You know where you're going?
Amazon.
Okay. Yes. You're gonna drive big trucks for them?
Yes.
All right.
Just to get my foot in the door, because I'm new. I don't have any experience. So get the experience, and then figure out from there. If I love it, then I'll stay with them. But ultimately, I do want to learn the ins and outs of trucking, as far as like the broker side, the dispatch side, so that I can do in myself and actually figure it out. So I want to at first, like I said, get experience, figure out the ins and the outs, and see what works for me, what path would work for me, what lane I should be in. So,
Yeah.
She has a goal.
Yeah.
Not only just to be a driver.
No, it sounds company minded.
Yeah.
I mean, I promise you, I can 99% guarantee you're going to see her on about 5-6 years old sooner on that the cover of Omaha magazine. I really have that belief in you. I think you're a boss lady. I think you sit back and you absorb. You listen, but you also hear.
Yeah.
Some days you need the lyrics, and some days you need the music, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely.
But I really, truly, Jen and I talk about this too, and you're a instructor.
Yeah.
Really think that you're probably going to take this career to a whole different level. I just hope you live by the saying that I gave you when you're in class. I'll clean it up for the radio, but success is like being pregnant,
Yeah.
and everybody will say congratulations, but I promise you, nobody knows how many times you got screwed before stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not to think of it on the sexual side of it; it's to think about it as the crying, like if you couldn't get pregnant, and all the tears and the late nights and all that. I mean, because that's your baby. This career's your baby, and whatever you do to it, the CDL's your baby.
Yeah.
Whatever you do to it could hurt you, but it also it gives you more advanced things that you can do versus it hurting you. So, Jen and I commend you. I mean, many times that you came into our office, you really did come into our office a lot. I mean, just to shoot the shit a little bit. But
Yeah.
what she's talking about is the permitting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you got to fail first before you can succeed. I'm a firm believer. If you didn't learn anything, that's a failure.
Yeah.
But if you learn something, that's learning.
And don't let anybody get on you about driving for Amazon. When I came out, I got hired on at Hanner Salvage in Blair, and I was hauling scrap metal. You want to talk about not glorious? Hauling trash, like,
Like, oh, look at that baby diaper. Seriously.
and it's like you're in the mud because they pour cement where you got to go dump metal. I mean, it's just, it's muddy, it's gross. But Buddy at Hanner Salvage, who hired me, he was one of the greatest bosses I ever had. If I needed to break away or something, he would allow it, and I am extremely thankful for him. It was, the ugly trucking. It wasn't a pretty truck. It wasn't a pretty trailer. You're hauling scrap steel. We had flat tires. I had a couple flat tires a week. You're in a scrap yard picking up, so you're going to get nails, and we would just throw another, used tire on it because you're going to go through it in a couple of days anyway.
Yeah.
It was the ugly trucking, but Buddy was the greatest guy I could have ever worked for. So
That's how I feel about coming to Diesel. Because I felt like when I walked in, I didn't feel like they didn't make me come in there and feel like, oh, I was in the wrong place or intimidated. They didn't tell me like, oh, you can't do this or anything. It was just so much encouragement, and I really was like the only girl for morning. So I was like the only girl, so that was intimidating too, because there are guys in there that are coming from their jobs who have background, in trucking, and here I am like, I don't know nothing. They're probably laughing at me because they're thinking I don't take it serious because I'm laughing at everything. But sometimes when I get nervous, I laugh. So it's like my way to get through it. So I'll start laughing. But
I laugh right before I'm like, when I'm really ready to sock somebody in the mouth.
Yes, I laugh and it helps me get through it. But I'm just so appreciative because even every instructor there as well, like our teachers, like all very encouraging. And also, what I love about the school as well is that they hold you accountable. And that's super big for me. I do like structure. So in order for me to thrive, I have to have some set of structure. So coming into a school that they're holding you at a certain standard and making sure that they want us all to succeed. So it's not like I'm just coming in here, hey, you're paying for this class. If you succeed or not, we don't care. We'll push it. Either you fail or you make it. No, it's like we want you all to succeed. We want you to get the information that you need to know so that you go out here, because after we leave, we're representing them. Okay, I came from Custom Diesel.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I'm telling other people that they're like, wow, okay, I want to be able to go out there and show my skills off, not go out there and wreck a whole truck and trailer. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I can't custom diesel. And they're like, yeah, okay. Yeah. What did you? Who
And I'll
taught
be
you?
like, no, she did.
Please don't attach my name to that. But yeah, so I feel like I made a very good decision by coming to custom diesel school. I don't regret it, not one bit. I think that it was best money spent. And I don't ever think that. I feel like you always make the best step when you are investing in yourself. And I always had a problem with second guessing myself, and this actually me coming to custom diesel like taught me how to kind of like stop doing that, because I know, usually when it's my first thought, go with that because I'm right, instead of going with the second thought. I'm like, oh, and then that's what I was having the problem when I was getting my permit. I kept having the answer, I knew it, but then I'd answer something else, and it like, why
Just didn't
you
go with
go?
that first gut instinct.
Yeah, like,
I'm
why
like,
you looking
Dan,
at
we had
that?
it right the first time. Why'd you change
Yeah, that's exactly what he used to tell me. So
There's only plan A. There's no plan B.
right. So yeah, I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Even just him bringing me here today, Ken bringing me here today, is an awesome opportunity, and I didn't turn it down because it's actually being able to bump shoulders and get to know other people outside of where I come from is awesome. I'm really trying to grow and broaden my horizons and my mind frame, and also pass that to my children. I have my daughter, my oldest child, which me being a single mom, I'm so proud of her. She just got accepted in December to Howard in Washington D.C., one of the top 5 colleges. So,
Wow. Good job, Mom.
yeah,
Whoa.
thank you.
Wait, I got a button for this. Where is it at?
Thank you.
Okay. So where's the pause? There we go.
Thank you.
And many
No,
more.
that's huge.
And
Congratulations.
she's going into financing.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah. So in
Yeah,
about
she's-
5 years
she's
or 4
really-
years.
She's taught me a lot. And I'm grateful for her. So grateful for her. Grateful that I became a mom when I did. And the only thing did, and I'm still learning now. But I'm very, very proud of her. She's on her way, and I feel like she looks at me and sees that I don't give up, and that I keep going, and that I keep striving. And I'm just proud of her for reaching for her dreams. Howard was the only college she ever wanted to go to, and this has been since, I want to say, junior high, since she figured out what she wants to become and who she wants to be, and that was what she was set on. So I prayed on it, and we took all the steps we needed to ensure that she would get in there, as far as like the programs that she took in high school to better her chance, to her recommendations. She had a lot of amazing recommendations from elementary all the way up to high school, just out in the community as well.
Hey, good
She's a
for
really
you.
bright girl. So
Good for you. Good for her. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Thank you.
I hope my kids turn
Well.
out Howard. Like, Gage might play football somewhere.
That's my retirement.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Good job. Just kicking the world's ass.
trying. That's why I got into trucking as well too, so that I could make sure that college is smooth for her. I don't want her to go into college and feel like she's got to do this and do that. I want her to be focused on the books. I want her to continue to excel. And I also even just told her what you told me, just be prepared to fail first, and that doesn't mean you're a loser. It doesn't mean you're not going to conquer. You got to fail first in order to win. And that's just life. And I think that I'm not even going to say I think, I know she's going to do amazing. She's very smart. She's actually in the stock. She's been in the stock since she was like 13. So she's been teaching me that, because I don't know nothing. And she'd be up early in the morning watching the stocks, and it's on the TV, and I'm looking and she's on the couch, and she's got her iPad, and she's looking on there, and I'm like, oh, okay. And she's like, well, Mom, we can do this. And so then I have stocks in my name, because she's taught me how to navigate. Yeah,
13 years old. Like, Mom, this is how you diversify.
Yeah, because she's like really big on, because she pays attention to the finances. And I think the biggest thing is because we did go through a phase in our life where we struggled. And I think that scared her, maybe. I don't know. I think that might have scared her to where she was like, I want to, which there's no problem with that. Do better than me. That's what you're supposed to do. I want you to set your standards way higher than I might have knew how to. And so that's why I feel like that she is going the path that she's going, because it's like I want to be stable, and if I do all of this now, by the time I'm in my 30s, I'm able to retire. I have a business, my credit's amazing, I can live where I want to live, I can travel, and my kids, when I decide to start a family, they'll be great. Fingers crossed. I just want her to wait till she's 28.
I tell my oldest son I'm like 32, bro.
Yeah, 28, 32, perfect age. Go travel, live your life, go see what you can see, and then you have your whole life, in my opinion, to worry about having a family and all those great things, and actually, getting married and stuff like that. So I look forward to those things with her. To be honestly, that be a grandparent, which sounds crazy, but I do. Eventually, I'm very family oriented, but I want her to live her life. I want her to see everything she can see. So
for sure.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on all your success
Thank you.
with school, and good luck with the Amazon coming down here. And
thank you.
I think you're going to do well. I think you and your daughter going to do just fine.
Thank you.
Especially if that's the career she's going, that's going to learn a lot.
She is.
And you guys, that's a hell of a partnership right there.
She told me she's going to be filing my taxes. She said, when you start your business, Mom, I'll be filing your taxes.
There's 3 people that you need.
Yeah, she'll be giving me business.
You need a banker, you need an amazing CPA or an accountant, and an amazing attorney. You tell all of them, do everything to the fine tip of the law, just keep me out of jail.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Seriously.
That's just a little bit of a business tip.
And pay them well too, because that'll help us.
And that goes back to the education. We need those people.
Exactly.
You know that's the path you're going. Go down it, but don't just be taking college classes because you want to go party. Shit, I went and partied at the colleges and I didn't go in bed.
But I think the difference too, as well as this generation, not to interrupt you guys, is that we're in a generation where this younger generation doesn't understand hard work. They feel like they can cut corners in order to achieve things, and that's not how it works. As far as our grandparents, just even us, working hard and understanding that you have to work hard. You can't cut corners. There's certain things. Now, there's certain things in life you can, and you're still gonna go far. But if you want longevity in anything, you have to work for it. It's not just gonna come because you went and you did this or you did that and you cut the corner. Oh, hey, okay. If it came fast, it's going to leave even faster. And a lot of this generation doesn't want to put in the work. They're caught up on social media and life that they see other people have, but they're not understanding the steps that it takes to acquire.
That point.
Exactly. And a lot of the people that you're looking at
aren't even that person anyways.
Exactly. This is a facade. So they're not even living that type of lifestyle. So
what's a facade? No, I'm just kidding.
the fancy cars and the lifestyle that people and the want to be on TV. I always say everybody wants to be
most of the TikTok influencers.
Musicians and rappers and all types of stuff like that, but nobody's looking into fixing cars anymore, or being an electrician, or going to school to be a lawyer, or going to be a doctor, or being a nurse. And if they are going into some of these fields, it's because of the look. A lot of people, it's a thing to become a nurse, but you don't even like people. You don't even care.
So you're gonna hate every day of that job.
Right. Yeah. Right. So you're going into a field that is really not gonna be good for you.
So people are an image now; they're not people.
Right.
Exactly.
That's a good way.
I tell my kids this, and it might come off rude. I don't mean no intention. But I teach them this. You've seen my oldest daughter do that bronc riding.
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with her? But anyway, I tell them all the time. I says, you just stay in your lane, focus on yourself. You do you. And if you even try to have an argument with somebody that thinks it's okay to eat Tide Pods, you just walk the other direction. Because eventually, they're going to be so far behind. They're going to be the victim. They're going to be this side of it. And in the meanwhile, you're going to be no real entrepreneur, business owner, successful person talk. They do talk, but they don't show it. They don't talk about the late nights. They don't talk about the stress. They don't talk about the bad eating habits, just all that stuff. And that's what these kids are looking at, is the TikTok side of it, as in all the limelight, the 10-second TikTok video or whatever, but they don't look at what the grit and the grind was to get there. And that's what we as parents have to teach them that it's not all limelight. You know, if you want to be like them, then do everything like them.
Yeah.
But they don't come out and say what they have to do to get there. You know,
They don't
but all I know, for the years that I've been doing this, 13 years, going on 13 years, working with multiple people, the most successful people, however you want to measure success, are the ones that you don't hear nothing from them on TikTok, Facebook, realistically, on certain things. They just keep grinding. And but it can go the other way too. If you got great credit and a decent career, you could buy all kinds of things and act like somebody that you're not. You know, so I always talk about this in class. I think I talked about in your class. I know I talked about in your class. How many silent millionaires do you know? We don't know who they are, right?
No, there's a lot in Omaha, though.
There's tons of them in Omaha. And those are the ones that don't go out and toot their horns and flaunt their stuff, nor do they ask for a return anything.
Yeah.
And that's truly who my wife and I.
A lot of those people are the ones that give 50 grand in charity and don't let anybody know. Just do it because they can and out of the goodness of their heart.
Right.
But that speaks volumes compared to the swing side of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're too loud, you're too loud. I mean, but I also, what I say, create what? You're going to create what?
A lot of haters.
A lot of haters. That's your job, is to create haters. But it's also your job to, as a successful person, or get to be successful, however you want to measure. It's also your job to sit down and kind of listen and hear some of the people that you can help. And it's just one word that can change the entire conversation. Yep. And I'm a firm believer in that. But no, I mean, I know you're going to be on the cover of Omaha Magazine someday. I know you will. I mean, we've talked about it in class. Just your goals, the direction you want to go. I didn't know that about your daughter. I knew about Howard, but I didn't know that's what she was going for. But yeah, I think we're going to see a company owner here in the next 2-3 years.
You better come back and talk to us then.
I was going to say,
Definitely.
Maybe it was
proofs in the pudding that's recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be the success story.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll
episode
definitely
4 and episode 94.
I definitely will come back.
Awesome. Well, we have pretty much ate up our hour here, so it went by real quick. It always does. You're like, man, what am I going to fill an hour with? And then you're like, oh, we got to cut it
We could
off.
probably talk for 3 more. Those great conversations.
Oh, I appreciate just the live questions. I hate scripts, and I really appreciate the live questions.
Man, if you put it on script, it just don't come across on film.
It takes me 45 minutes to read a damn paragraph. No, I'm just
Dude,
kidding.
I did a film with Gage just to practice when I was getting all this set up, and he gave me like 25 or 27 minutes of absolute gold, but we lost the audio for it because we're still figuring out the system. Yeah, so I re-interviewed him, same questions and everything, bro. I got 9 minutes of trash.
Right.
So I'm like, we're never scripting a thing.
Right.
So
I hate scripts.
yeah, so
It's more
Again,
organic.
yeah. Well, you're gonna get an actual reaction, and I don't know. We wanted to do this on video because I'm a decent storyteller, and the animation of going through the story sometimes comes through better on film. So it's
Well, there's one thing I could say for those that are looking at probably maybe bettering themselves or wanting to get a CDL, wanting to come to the industry, just call us. Don't worry about tuition. Don't worry about funding. We got lots of programs out there to help. The main thing is just make that call. I'd rather talk to myself, Dave, my recruiter, Sam, any of us. It does change lives tremendously.
for sure.
And remember, you do not have to go over the road to do this type of career. That's the most misleading thing out there. So, but yeah, no, we're here for you.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again for coming, y'all, and we'll catch up again in like 90 episodes. Huh? Yeah, thank you.
Deanna will be back.
Yep, definitely. Thank you.
Oh, that was a good time.
Oh yeah, I love it.